Good afternoon, and thank you for joining the Hudson 7.
Not yet. Hold on.
Oh, it says live.
Hold on. And we're live.
Good evening, and thank you for joining the Hudson 7 Drinking Water Council's monthly meeting. Today is Thursday, July the 16th. My name is Rebecca Martin, and I am the Water Quality Program Campaign Manager for Riverkeeper, an acting coordinator and co-organizer along with Town of Hyde Park Deputy Supervisor Neil Krupnick for the Hudson 7's virtual meetings. Before we begin, we would like to go over a few meeting guidelines and abbreviated procedures. The procedures are available in full on the Hudson 7's meeting page on their website at www.hudson7.org. The Hudson 7's meetings are recorded and streamed live on their YouTube channel page. A link to their page can be found on the meeting page of their website, once again at www.hudson7.org. The public is advised to subscribe in advance to this channel to receive notifications when the meetings are to begin. Both video and written transcriptions will be made available to the public on the Hudson 7's website at a later date. If a member of the public would like to participate during the public comment section of our Zoom meetings, either audio or video, pre-registration is required. Written comments may also be submitted to be read on record too. For more detailed information on how to pre-register and submit public comments, please visit the meeting page of the Hudson 7 website. For those who are pre-registered this evening, once you are logged in, you will be placed in the virtual waiting room. The moderator will let you into the meeting at the appropriate time. You can watch the proceedings of the meeting via the live stream link while you are waiting. When you enter the meeting, you will be muted to give you time to turn off the volume on your YouTube link to prevent feedback. You will be asked to state your name and your municipality or affiliation. For the Hudson 7 council members, please control your own mute button. Good practice would be to mute yourself if you are not speaking to avoid background noise and feedback. If a Hudson 7 member wishes to speak, please raise your hand and the chairperson will call on you. Before you speak, please state your name for any audio listeners. Lastly, at tonight's meeting, we have in attendance the Hudson 7 Chair, Village of Rhinebeck Mayor Gary Bassett. Gary, you want to raise so thank you. We have the Hudson 7 Secretary, the Town of Hyde Park Deputy Supervisor Neil Krupnick, Hudson 7 committee members, Town of Poughkeepsie Board Member Bill Carlos, City and Town of Poughkeepsie Water Plant Operator and Technical Advisor Randy Allstat, Town of Lloyd Deputy Supervisor Russ Gilmore is with us tonight. Those are our voting members. Non-voting members, we have Dan Shapley, the Director of the Water Quality Program at Riverkeeper. Technical advisors to the Hudson 7, Paul Melmrose and Emily Swenson. Great. On behalf of the Hudson 7, I now turn the floor over to the chairman, Gary Bassett.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our July Hudson 7 meeting. I hope everybody is well and drinking plenty of water from the Hudson River. We have kind of an abbreviated schedule today. It should go kind of smoothly, I hope. First, we've had the roll call and quorum determination. I'd like to make a motion to accept the minutes for the June 18th meeting.
Motion.
Second. Any discussion or amendments?
Was that Neil who made a motion and Randy second?
Yes.
I made the motion, Neil or Randy seconded, whichever one you think answered first. Okay, all right, so hearing no motions, all in favor, say aye by basically raising your hand. Voting board members. Russ, you're abstaining, I'm abstain,
Correct.
to be Russ. Okay, all right, thank you very much. I'd just like to add one thing. If there's anybody that has any recommendations or amendments to the agenda, now would be the time to add those. Is there any amendments to the agenda for this evening?
Gary, I would just like to add that we do have one person who has called or signed up for public comment, Europa McGovern, that is not listed on the agenda.
Oh, public comment is, well, we can, right? So we'll get Europa into the public comment section. Is that what you're asking? Okay.
Yeah, just letting everybody know.
Oh, okay, very good. All right, moving, Paul. Hello, Paul?
Okay. Under new business, I wanted to give everybody an update on my presentation for New York AWWA.
Very good. All right, we will add that under the new business. Okay, communications. I think we have one communications. Rebecca, correct? From
Yes.
Jessica Cohen.
Yes, Jessica Cohen wrote to the Hudson 7. She's the Hudson Estuary Specialist of the New York Sea Grant, just with the upcoming webinar series schedule that was in your agenda packet.
Any questions or comments on Jessica's correspondence? Hearing none, we'll move forward. Old business and action items. Hudson River Source Water Protection Initiatives, right? I believe, Randy, this was your topic?
Yeah. We have public comment, Gary.
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, you're right. I skipped over, I'm moving to left to right. Skipped over to public comment. So, Neil, could you let Europa in, please?
So, Europa, are you there? Europa? Or perhaps she's just listening in.
There is another caller on the line.
Yeah, that we assumed was Europa. So,
Who's 8373? Are you on the line?
well, I'll put this person back in the waiting room, and if they text me or send me an email, we'll put them back in 6 months.
All right,
Yep.
thanks, Neil.
From the Ulster County Department of the Environment wanted the Hudson 7 to know that she's listening in.
Okay. All right, so now we'll get back to reports, actions, and old business. The first item on the agenda was the Hudson River Source Water Protection Initiatives. Randy?
I met with Central Hudson. They're planning on doing some work this year. They're going to use a hydraulic dredge instead of a clamshell, which is a good thing, but it's still going to be quite a significant project because now they have to have a water treatment plant with it. So they're going to have to build a water treatment plant on the river's front somewhere. They're going to pump the stuff that they dredge into geobags. And once they go through the geobags, the water coming out is going to have to go through a treatment plant, a water treatment plant, before it can be discharged to the river. So they got a lot of work to do. They're planning on mobilizing in August. They're planning on putting that curtain wall back up in August. And then they're hoping to get dredging sometime in September or as late as October. They were saying they have a problem with their parts. Part of the arm that goes in that does the dredging is not available until sometime in October, but they think they might be able to get it quicker. We do have a purchase order now for purchasing this, the GCMS, so that's moving along. Central Hudson did give us the 20%, which was very nice. They jumped right in. I gave them a bill, and I think I got a check within 2 weeks. So they've been very good. So that's great.
So Randy, I have a question. Will they be able to finish this fall or will it be carry over into the next year?
They're gonna be going for at least 4 more years, I think.
Oh, 4 more years.
I think it's gonna be quite a while. Yeah, it's interesting. They have the map, the latest thing they sent out, they showed that someplace they may have to dredge a foot, but some places they have to dredge 7 foot deep. And there's 7 acres they're supposed to be dredging. So it's not gonna go quick. And the treatment plant is gonna be very challenging.
Okay. Thank you.
But there's still a big difference from what it was with a clamshell dredge. Big difference. Thank you, Central Hudson.
Paul, you raised your hand?
Randy, is there room on the bank to build a treatment plant? I mean, this is going to be very similar to what GE had to do on the Mohawk River. And are they planning to revegetate the river bottom once they do that work?
They're scheduled to replace all the material that they dredge out. There's not going to be left a hole in the river. So they're supposed to take all the stuff out of the river and then fill back in. As far as where the treatment plant's going to be and how it's going to be, and I saw what they're planning on doing, which makes sense. I mean, I did a project in Ashtabula, Ohio, on the Ashtabula River that did exactly what they're proposing. And it's just really complicated, but it is a big job with the treatment that you have to do for the byproduct of water.
And
Quick question too, is there a new document that describes this whole project that we can review, like engineering plan or some new, it sounds like things are pretty certain the way you're talking about them. I'm just curious if I can get, anything in writing that we can kick over to people who would be able to interpret this stuff and really give an expert opinion on it, in addition to yours.
Central Hudson is reporting to DEC, and DEC is reporting to whoever, and I'm not on their whoever list. So I haven't been getting it. So I keep telling Mark, if you do something, let me know. I want to know so I can be ahead of the game and find out. So he came over, we talked, and then he sent me an email about some of the project, what they're doing, included a map of the area and sort of the depths he's doing. Did I send that to you? No? Okay, I will send it out tomorrow. I'll forward it to everybody.
thank you, Randy.
That's the best I have. I keep asking him, you've got to have a report that says exactly what you're doing. You got to. And he's just like, well, he sent it to DEC and it's their choice to who they want to send it to. It's so stupid.
I'll also reach out to the contact I have at DEC and see if there's anything that he can provide, and I'll share it if anything comes through.
Yeah, if you can get him convinced to put us on his list of distribution, it would be great.
Well, should we ask for the Hudson 7 to be put on the list? Sorry, question. Randy,
Yeah, sure, that'd be great.
how would we go about doing that?
We should contact Douglas McNeil. He's the DEC representative on the site. So,
I mean, if you don't mind.
I could send you his email and you could contact him through that, or you could. I'll send you information.
Yes, Randy, that'd be great. I'll reach out. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I think it'd be better if you just gave them one and they sent it to you and you can have it distributed as you want, rather than trying to get it to all of the people on our membership list. Just one person, you or whoever you designate, and then let it go from there to our normal Hudson 7 meeting people.
Well, let's see if they'll add us, and then I'll work on the logistics. Good idea, good suggestion, Bill. Okay, any other questions for Randy? Having none, we'll move forward. Update on the municipal code review. Emily, I think I just saw something today. I haven't had a chance to read it.
Yeah, so as you know, I've been working one by one through the municipalities, and so maybe it was the month before last, I sent out one for Esopus. I did get through the town of Rhinebeck, which is what I sent to just Elizabeth, and I copied you, Gary, and Rebecca, just so that you'd be in the loop. I didn't send it to everyone, but I can if you want. What I think will make the most sense is after we're through all the municipalities and we can look at them together, you'll be able to see, you know, what are some good examples. Oh, good, there's the Rhinebeck. So what I did was I went through the Rhinebeck Town Code and looked for all these different types of provisions that might be there to protect water quality. And yeah, again, Rhinebeck is a town that is ahead of the curve on a lot of this, and I think will provide some good examples for some of our other municipalities. So again, I'll keep working through these, and I'm trying to do one a month, and by the end of the year, we'll have all 7, and then we can put them all together and get some ideas to share.
Great. Thank you, Emily.
Looks good.
Very good. Any questions for Emily? Okay. Thanks again. Next update is our update on our New York State drinking water. So this, Dan, I think you and I can share this, because the first thing I had an action, I'll just report first. I had an action item last month to reach out to the county, and I did write a letter that I sent out for review to both Dan and Rebecca, and that went out today. That letter went to Owen Rafter, the head of Dutchess County Planning, basically asking him for somebody to, at the county level, to join us, in addition to like the Ulster County has for Europa, and be part of our planning. And a lot of this plays into our drinking water source water protection that Dan is working on. But to me, it also plays into a lot of bigger roles in terms of, you know, if we end up doing spill drills and having a county engaged and knowing what's going on, but maybe not necessarily inviting them, but any activities that we do, I would like to get the county input on as appropriate. So that letter has gone out, and I'll wait as soon as I get a response. I think, Rebecca, you sent it to everybody to review, or is it out on the portal?
No,
You
but I
wanna
will do that. The last month, the council gave you permit, well, voted to approve that you write the letter and get it out. So I just put it up for people to see, but I'm happy to send it out to everyone if they'd like.
Okay. All right. So Dan, I know you also spoke to the county.
Yeah, just yesterday or 2 days ago, I got outreach from someone in, I'm sorry, help me with the pronunciation of the his name.
Well, it's in Owen's department.
Owen, right, Owen. And he's the GIS mapping guy who I heard from. So he is, if you remember, if we get the support from the state for the drinking water source protection program, kind of the first 2 steps, one is building a stakeholder group, and the other is getting that map done, that source water assessment that would, look at the geographic area that, we think is relevant for protection of various, that introduction of pollutants in that area could be a concern for the drinking water intakes, and putting it all on a map and starting to use that as a planning tool to prioritize. So I was able to show him that the kind of roadmap to create that map, bad choice of words. So he took a look at that and said, okay, yeah, I get this, I can do that. And he was going to go back to Owen and just make sure that it would still be a priority for him. And I think if the council, one of the things that's just kind of odd about waiting for the state to make a decision on this program is that, if we get the support from the state, if the council gets the support from the state, then I would expect either the consultant or the Department of Health would probably do this step of creating the map. But we have the offer from the county, that's to do it and get started. So I guess my advice is to maybe, vote to authorize, or to endorse the collaboration with the county and get started on this. Because I think we wouldn't, as I reflected on it, I don't think it'll be any wasted resources because it's going to be such a first step. And we know that with the Hudson being as a complicated a body of water as it is, that it's not like a reservoir where, there's a discrete number of, pollution sources and a small land area to deal with, but a potentially huge area that either will matter not at all for some pollutants because they don't travel that far, or might matter a lot, at different scales, like we learned with the coal tar cleanup, where everyone said, well, coal tar is never going to make it, whatever it was, a half a mile from point A to point B, and then lo and behold, it does. So different pollutants will, be a concern based on different scales. So there'll be more maps to be made in the future, is the long-winded way to make the point. So I would recommend, if Dutchess County's ready and willing, we should just, say go for it and let's get started on this step. But the other option is to wait on the state and then see what support comes through.
Questions for Randy or I? Paul?
Has the same letter been sent to Dennis Doyle, the planning director at Ulster County?
No, because we already had Europa signed from Ulster County representing them. So we're asking Dutchess County to mimic what Ulster County has already implemented. I think Bill had his hand up first, Rebecca. I don't know if he pulled it down. Never mind, Rebecca.
Just bringing forward the notes from last month, the minutes where the Hudson 7 discussed why they chose the Dutchess County Planning Department, being that they didn't have a Department of the Environment like Ulster County did. That's my recollection, so just bring it up.
So let's get back to this action item. So Dan, your thought is that this person that you spoke to may get back to you even quicker than maybe Owen will reply. Is that a thought or not? Or
It
you
could
think
be. I mean, when I talked to him a couple of days ago, I said, can you, and he expressed that, desire on his part to go back to Owen and make sure that this was still a priority. And I said, can you do that by Thursday when I talk to all these people? And he said, I'll try. And he didn't, obviously couldn't get back because I haven't heard from him. But it seems like on the scale of, a day or two, we'll probably hear this week or next if they're able to support.
And I mean, I don't see a reason why we would wait. Does anybody have a reason why we would wait if he does get back and let him get started? What is he going to need from either us or any of the plants? Will he need additional information?
It's a good question. He probably will, I should say I encouraged him to attend directly, and he had a training thing that he had to do. So he said he couldn't attend this meeting, but we'll have to set up some lines of communication. I think most of the, I haven't looked in detail at the framework for this, to create the map, but I think it's, for GIS people, I think it's pretty straightforward. It's like, go to this source, pull this map, put that layer down, so I don't think he'll need a lot from us, because I think a lot will come from sources that he already has, but he might need some. So we'll need to have an open line of communication to the right person. Yeah, so I'm not sure. That might be Randy, someone who could get, access to the locations of the intakes, for instance, or something the quickest.
So, Randy.
Yeah, I was gonna offer that that's probably what he'd want for sure, is the intake locations. And
Yeah.
we all have them. I've seen them before, so we can give them that information somewhat.
Rebecca. Emily, excuse me.
I was wondering, would they be mapping the whole area, both sides of the river, or just the Dutchess County side?
Both sides.
He asked me that, and I said both sides.
Great.
And, the reason being, it's the same map area for the intakes, and Rhinebeck typically spans the north-south, extent anyway. So.
Paul.
The locations of the intakes are in that report that I did on PHMs and HAAs.
Yeah.
Is there any other, when it gets down to the GIS mapping and doing the layers though, Dan, should we be giving them a spec of what we want?
Well, I think we can, I mean, I think it's a learning tool and, you know, it's a first step. So I think my advice would be to just follow the framework the state's laid out as the first step and learn from that. And that will tell us what next steps, you know, well, we need to know more about this. This didn't really help us with that, or it'll get plugged into the other planning processes and kind of help to, you know, such as Emily's review of the codes, you know, it'll bring to light, it'll be, you know, layered on with pieces of information like that to help to prioritize.
Okay. Anything else for Randy? I mean, for Dan? Excuse me. Okay, we'll move on. Next one is Randy. That's what you were on my mind. Water.
Gary?
Before you do, should we just have a vote to author and to say if the county's ready that the council has voted to kind of move forward with that mapping project?
Well, usually you only have
I'll
to
make the motion.
vote if you're dealing on something that takes time or money.
Okay.
That's the way I've been running this. You don't, if the council wants to vote, I'm open to opening that up, but I did ask that question. Is there any reason why we would not want him to proceed if he responds?
Okay.
And if we're not spending any resources to do it, does anybody have any objection to that being our policy? Randy?
Would it be advantageous for us to send a letter or something to support the project, or is Dan got that covered?
Well, I think if Owen responds that he's going to give us support, I think that's covered.
Good,
Because that was mentioned in the letter.
good.
Bill?
I'm gonna take my cheerleader hat on here. Does everybody realize what we're just talking about? This wasn't even a thought in people's minds before this group got together. Keep going. Don't ever stop. Thank you. I'll take my hand down.
Yeah. Cool. All right, water operators, Randy, have you been able to reach out or do anything?
Randy,
I
you need
think our operators are really concerned about getting through the COVID thing and not really going to be wanting to get together. I've tried to reach out to get them together before. I haven't been successful. So I haven't been successful yet.
Does that include any discussions on the equipment sharing?
Yeah, that hasn't been successful either. But I promise I will do it in the next few weeks.
That's such a shame, but you know, I think there's so much that everybody has that we could share.
Well, I know that the city of Poughkeepsie and the town of Poughkeepsie have a lot of materials that if something went bad and the other members of the group needed it, they would share.
Yeah, I know, but
So we got to get a list. Yep.
Randy, would food help? I mean, I'll gladly buy the lunch for all of them to sit at the table.
Yeah. We can
Bill,
see-
I was gonna suggest maybe go a different route. Go to the supervisors and or mayors and create an IMA for equipment sharing and communication.
You can do that. If you're going to talk to the supervisors and mayor, tell their operators to get involved here. They work for people. Randy works for a joint water board. The other operators work for people. If the people they work for say, look, this is an important thing, I want you to go to these meetings, do it on Zoom if you have to. But let's get going with this. You were talking about a wealth of knowledge, sharing equipment. If you're a small operator and you break, or you're hurt and we got to get somebody to cover for you, it'd be really nice to have this system in place. And if it takes the boss saying to the employee, you get your rear end down to this meeting or up to the meeting or wherever it's going to be. But I'm perfectly willing to try bribery first.
Oh,
Randy, would it be possible to get them operator credits if we had some sort of formal get together? I've gotten PDHs for engineers. I don't know the process for operators though.
Yeah, you can get PDHs or whatever they call them for operators, just the same way you would for engineers, and probably it's even easier. Just goes through the state health department. But you know, you need 30 every 3 years, 30 credits which is 1 hour of time is a credit every 3 years. So 1 hour pretty much doesn't mean anything. You know, you need bigger than that. So, but we can look into that. I mean, if that would be a carrot for them, we could do that.
I'd be willing to help with that.
Okay.
The other thing is in Hyde Park at the Greenfields wastewater treatment plant that's operated by Dutchess County Water and Wastewater, they had a major fire that burnt down their RBC units. Our firm had a design in place and the contractor was just going to come to the site and these things burnt down, and I suggested maybe they call you, Randy, and see how you could help. Did that ever happen?
No, I heard from Aaron that burnt down, but I haven't heard from anyone else.
There's a typical example of how we all could help each other.
all right. So, I mean, I'm in the mode of writing letters anymore. So what if I were to write a letter to the others and make a formal request for cooperation and with a reply? Anybody, is that okay with everybody?
Sounds great.
All right. All right, so I'm going to make a motion that I'll write another letter to all the municipalities requesting their cooperation in working together and sharing of information and equipment.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye by raising your hand. Okay, motion carried. I'll put another one on my list. All right, because I think Bill, I agree with you. I just want to comment that this is something that we've been talking about and wanting to do and trying to do. And I think it's one of the reasons we originally started this group, to kind of bring this body together, not only at our level, but at the operator level. So it's really important. It's important to me as well. So thank you. Okay. I don't think we have anything on funding, Rebecca, do we? Is there any?
No, these are categories. So when we have things in, we can just drop them in to organize our agenda.
All right, new business. We have two, we added one. So designation resolution of Hudson 7. That was the milestones, right? That's the milestone list, Rebecca?
Yes, I'm sorry, I skipped over in the coordination under ongoing the revised work plan, the milestones and priorities.
Right, so that was Randy. You sent out that update.
No, that was last month when the Hudson 7 spoke about the document. We had made some changes and Dan had updated the document.
Right.
I was just bringing that forward for the group, that's all.
Okay.
And it's in there, it's in your packet.
Right. I don't know, is there any discussion needed? Going once, going twice? Okay. All right, new business. The designation resolution for Hudson 7. You got to help me, Rebecca. I don't remember what that is.
So the town of Esopus passed a resolution to make Don Kiernan, the alternative member of the Hudson 7,
That's what, yeah.
when Shannon can't, Supervisor Harris can't be here in attendance, so it's just official.
Yes,
So we have that in our records.
yes, thank you. All right, and then Paul, you wanted to discuss your presentation to AWWA. We can't hear you, Paul.
As you remember, the spring conference of AWWA was canceled, was delayed, and then it was canceled again. So that what they're doing now is they're going to videos where you make a PowerPoint presentation that is recorded. And so I said I would do it. They're very interested in hearing about what you guys are doing. So what I would like to do is either send that to everybody before the August meeting and then you can view it on your own time, and maybe at the next meeting you give me some comments, or I can do it after the meeting or before the meeting and you can comment then. But I think it would be easier if everybody just viewed it on their own and then brought questions, but I'd really like to get your input. So.
Okay. Any questions for Paul till we read it? Randy?
Well, I have the video that the city of Poughkeepsie put together, and I can provide that to Paul. But the problem becomes as you start going with this information, the size of the file is going to be too big to move around a lot. So we might have to put a Dropbox in or something like that. But whatever I can help, Paul, I'll be glad to.
Okay, I can get a Dropbox ready.
We have a Google Drive for Hudson 7. So we can make that accessible to Randy and to everybody in the group.
Okay, that'd be great. So I'll try to get something out to you a week or week and a half before the August meeting. And then you can view it on your own and you can give me some input before I submit it to New York AWWA.
And when can we put this on the agenda, or do you need response back before that, Paul?
No, I can do this anytime. So the August meeting would be a great time to do it.
All right. So we'll add this to the agenda for August.
Okay, thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, unless anybody has anything else to add, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Wow, that's a first.
I was the first. I made the motion.
No, it is a first. At 6:10, we're 20 minutes early.
I know. Well, enjoy your Thursday, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
See you all.